You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television.
Very pleased to be bringing on our next guest. He is media liaison with Convention of States Action. His name is Dale Clary, and he's going to update us on what's going on in the legislature. I think you might be very interested in this. It involves Article 5 of the Constitution. And Dale, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. So first, update us on what is Convention of States Action? What is your group?
The Convention of States project is a nationwide grassroots project to reel in a runaway federal government. The feds are just running out of control in a lot of different ways. And the Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution provides a procedure for the states to do that, to reel in the federal government by having a convention to propose amendments.
Has that ever been done before?
Never been done that way before. All of the amendments have been done by the other way that's also provided in Article 5 through the Congress.
Now, why hasn't this way ever been utilized?
Well, actually, there have been 400 state applications, but they've been on multiple topics. They've never really been together, and you've never gotten 34 of them to actually pass the same thing. That's what's different here, is that we're working on the same concept, the same subject.
And it has to be actual identical in each state?
If not identical, at least the operative language needs to be the same, and that's what we have here, and that's what we have in every state that it's being pushed in right now.
Okay, so this is all into reining in a federal government that has obviously gone crazy, right?
Well, we have a debt bomb that's about to explode on us. That's number one thing.
Debt.
Yeah, 20, going on 20, that's right. Tom Coburn told the U.S. Senate last week, every family in the country owes $1 million in unfunded liabilities. I mean, it's just crazy. It's out of control. But then it's more than that. It's now they're trying to regulate every aspect of our lives. They're trying to tell us who can go to the bathroom where. They're trying to tell us what's a marriage and what's not a marriage, as well as what our health care is going to be. I mean, it just gets worse and worse.
And there's a lot of frustration, I think. There's a lot of anger at the traditional politicians.
Right.
As a Republican, I've been angry at Congress for doing nothing. I mean, we sent them up there to do something, and they haven't done anything.
Well, and you see that, though, in the people that are being nominated, at least on the Republican side. The two last standers were both anti-establishment types, and even then you see Bernie Sanders on the Democrat side. So this is on both sides of the aisle.
Right.
This
so this sort of dovetails into exactly what's going on in the presidential race.
Exactly. It's an untapped, or it's tapped anger is what's going on. People are saying that even if it's not anger, they're saying this is not the way we're supposed to be, and we don't want to stay that way. And this is how you can stop that, is with the Convention of States.
So let's talk about what's going on here in Louisiana, because in the past you've tried to pass this, and it's worked maybe in the House, but not in the Senate, and you haven't gotten traction. This year could be the year that this thing finally gets through.
We are very optimistic. We passed in the House last year, but it didn't get out of committee in the Senate. Well, this year it's not only gotten out of the Senate committee, it's gone to the Senate floor. It left the Senate committee on an overwhelming 6-1 vote, passed the Senate floor on an overwhelming 29-6 vote, I believe. So we're getting overwhelming support on the Senate side.
And what I'm impressed in is you're getting support from Democrats and Republicans.
Exactly. I mean, this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's an all-of-us issue. The debt bomb, as Tom Coburn calls it, is going to explode on everybody, regardless of your political affiliation.
So fill us in on the exact status of where this now is in the House.
It's now been moved over to the House. It's been assigned to the House and Governmental Affairs Committee. We expect a hearing in that committee in the near future. Frankly, we think they're going to review it favorably and send it to the House. And then it'll go to the House floor, and then it'll be voted on there. The session ends June 6th. So it'll be over by then, one way or another. It'll be
Isn't it sort of a liberal committee, though, the House Governmental Affairs Committee, or not?
Not so much, to be honest with you. No, yeah, we're looking closely at the committee people, and we're talking to them. But I mean, like we said a minute ago, it's not just a Democrat or Republican issue. And there are Democrats that have been very receptive to this message. They get that. They see what's going on, and it's something we all have to deal with.
Now, the resolution calls for a convention of states to propose amendments to the U.S. Constitution to require fiscal restraint, limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and also to impose term limits.
Right. Those are the topics that are available for the convention delegates or commissioners to choose from. It's like a study committee, because this convention has no legal authority to pass amendments. All they can do is propose amendments, and then they go back to the states, and if 3/4 of the states ratify it, then they become law.
Tell us, if you could, Dale, about some of the other states who have been involved in this so far.
7 states have passed it so far. Missouri is pretty close to passing it right now, we think. I know they're having a battle right now, today, I think, as we speak. Texas is fighting with it in the last couple of days as well. We think Louisiana is going to be successful. We hope it will be here. But there's movements in almost every state in the country right now.
So if we pass it, we'll be state number
8.
8.
Unless Missouri beats us.
So we'll be state number 8. We need 34 to force Congress to call the convention.
Correct.
So Congress doesn't have a choice to say, no, we reject this. They have to do it.
The word in Article 5 is shall. That's a legal term that even non-lawyers know means you have to do it.
So, I mean, do we have any kind of legal test that has been done to test the viability of this, or?
Well, it's not ever been done where you've had 34 states file these applications, but there are a lot of really good constitutional lawyers that are in the background in here, I'll say in the background, in the leadership, and helped put all this together a couple of years ago. They've looked at this really hard. Rob Natelson has written a number of law review articles, Michael Ferris, who's done a lot of legal work in this area. Mark Levin, most people know of as a radio host, but he's actually a constitutional scholar and has written widely on it. And a number of other good scholars have all looked at this in a lot of detail and say, this is real, this can be done, it should be done.
All right, so what kind of timeline are we looking at? Because we've got a debt bomb that's ready to explode. We got problems that are going crazy. So I think we need this convention pretty soon. Well,
I'd love to have it next week, but and I think we ought to have it in New Orleans. We ought to host it here because it's going to be in one location, and I think that would be wonderful. I don't know a national timeline right now, but obviously once all the legislative sessions in the various states have finished, it'll be done for this year. It hasn't passed in every state it's been applied to. My guess is, and this is just strictly speculation, we're probably looking about 2 years down the road.
2 years.
That's my guess. National hasn't taken an approach.
Is there, like the 8 states that have passed it so far, and we'll hopefully be added to that list, is there like a time period where you have to renew it once you pass it?
No, there's not a limit in Article 5. In fact, some of those 400 applications I've talked about a few minutes ago have been sitting for decades. And in fact, a couple of states, just to show that these apparently do not expire, a couple of states have now rescinded some of their previous applications, not convention of state applications, just totally unrelated other things. So apparently there is no deadline, no cutoff. There's certainly none in the Constitution.
So if a convention of states does occur, how long would it last?
As long as we can host them here in New Orleans. I don't know.
And who would be the chairman of this convention?
Well, there's actually a set of rules that's already been drafted for the committee to actually adopt, for the convention delegates or commissioners as they're being called to adopt. There's one set that's already on the Convention of States website. I think some of the other legislative groups have proposed some as well.
And who would be the delegates to the Convention of States?
That's up to the states. The state legislatures get to choose those. It's not Congress. This is not a convention of congressional delegates. It's a convention of states. So we get to choose who goes.
So really this is power really being taken back by the states from Congress. So Congress really is not a player in all this except to officially call for the convention.
They have to make the call. Once the 34 states have passed the application, they have no choice.
And that's their only role, really.
Correct. Now there are some who argue that, I'm afraid Congress is going to get in there and mess the whole thing up. Well, if you have a fear about that, that's all the more reason we need to have a convention of states, if you're afraid of what Congress is going to do.
Dale, in our last minute or so here, let's tell our viewers out there a little bit about who is really working this legislation in the House, and how can our viewers maybe help out by contacting who they need to contact in the House.
The sponsors in the House are still being selected. I was looking at emails a few minutes ago about that, and we have some ideas who might be doing it. What I would suggest is look on the legislature's a really good website. They list all the committees. Go look at the House and Governmental Affairs Committee. And see who the members are. If it's one of your members, give them a call, tell them, yay, we're in favor of this. But frankly, any of your legislators on the House side, contact them and say, let's do this. This is something we need to do.
And it's not going to cost the state any money.
No.
I mean, we don't have any money, so this isn't going to cost us
anything. In the long run,
really.
it's probably going to save us millions and millions and millions of dollars. One of the problems with the state budget this year is, and not just here, but all over across the country, is half of our state budgets are being sucked up by federal mandated programs. That's not that's a fact. It's something you're not hearing a whole lot about, but it's a concern for legislatures everywhere. If you reel in the spending and the mandates from the federal government, we'll have more control over our budgets
It's
here.
Definitely a good government proposal. I certainly applaud what you're doing, support what you're doing, and hope everybody out there can go ahead and support this, contact their legislators. So, is there a website people can go to get more information?
ConventionofStates.com.
ConventionofStates.com. All right, that's what we'll check out. Dale, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
keep up the good work, and let's get this passed in this legislative session, and then we'll add Louisiana to the list. and get the 34 and get this convention going because we need it.
We only have one Congress. We have 50 state legislatures, and we have the power to rein them in.
Founding Fathers put an article in. It's called Article 5.
We've been blessed. Our founders knew that our federal government would get out of control.
We don't have to repeat history. Here's Article 5. States, take back your power.
This is an opportunity.